In the unforgiving world of international football, the most terrifying defeats are rarely the ones where you are simply outplayed. No, the most devastating losses are the ones where you are entirely convinced that you are winning. You have the ball, you have the territory, the crowd is roaring your name, but in reality, you are not playing a football match at all. You are walking, step by step, into a meticulously engineered trap. Welcome to the 2026 FIFA World Cup, a tournament that has already delivered shockwaves, but nothing quite like the tactical assassination we are about to break down today. This is the story of how a tournament favorite, a team boasting a billion-dollar squad, elite attacking flair, and an intimidating aura, was dismantled by an underdog opponent who simply refused to play the game on their terms. When you look at the final scoreline, it tells you a story of a shocking upset. But when you look at the tactical heat maps, the passing networks, and the movement off the ball, it tells you a completely different story. It tells you a story of arrogance, a fatal managerial blunder, and a 15-second ambush that will be studied in UEFA coaching manuals for the next decade. Today, we are going to dissect the greatest tactical trap of the 2026 World Cup. We will look at how the illusion of control was weaponized, how the favorites were lured into a false sense of security, and how a single substitution triggered a catastrophic structural collapse. Let's dive into the anatomy of a footballing disaster. To understand how this disaster unfolded, we have to look at the asymmetrical nature of this matchup. On paper, this was supposed to be a slaughter. Team A, the heavy favorites, came into this match deploying a highly aggressive 4-3-3 formation. Their philosophy is rooted in modern positional play: dominate possession, pin the opponent back, and use high-flying inverted fullbacks to overload the midfield. They don't just want to beat you, they want to suffocate you. Team B, the tactical underdogs, knew this. Their manager, a pragmatic mastermind, understood that going toe-to-toe with superior technical players in a possession battle is tactical suicide. You cannot outpunch a heavyweight champion in the center of the ring. Instead, you have to use their momentum against them. Team B lined up in what appeared to be a standard, defensively conservative 5-4-1 formation. The media immediately labeled it parking the bus. But this was a fundamental misreading of the situation. Parking the bus implies a desperate, chaotic defense hoping to survive an onslaught. What Team B deployed was not a bus. It was a spiderweb. For the first 30 minutes of the match, the narrative played out exactly as the pundits predicted. Team A held an overwhelming 72% possession. They were stringing together beautiful passing sequences. Their center-backs were camped on the halfway line, dictating the tempo. The fans were cheering every ole, convinced that the opening goal was only a matter of time. But let's pause and look closer at the pitch. Look at where Team A is actually keeping the ball. They're circulating it in a U shape around the penalty area. Team B is completely conceding the flanks, allowing Team A's wingers to have the ball out wide. Why? Because the touchline is the best defender in football. By forcing the play wide, Team B ensured that the central areas, the most dangerous real estate on the pitch, often called the Zone 14, remained incredibly congested. Every time Team A tried to thread a pass through the middle, it was intercepted by a wall of reinforced bodies. Team A was knocking at a reinforced steel door, completely unaware that they were leaving their own back door wide open. In elite football, there's a concept known as rest defense. It refers to how a team positions its defensive players while they are actually attacking. If you lose the ball, your rest defense is what stops the opponent from instantly countering. Normally, Team A has an excellent rest defense. Their defensive midfielder, playing as a lone pivot, acts as a sweeper ahead of the two center-backs, forming a solid triangle of protection. But human psychology is a strange thing. When you have 70% of the ball and the opponent refuses to press you, impatience begins to creep in. As the first half dragged on, frustration grew. Team A's defensive midfielder, seeing acres of uncontested space in front of him, began to step higher and higher up the pitch. He wanted to contribute to the attack. He wanted to break the deadlock. This was the exact psychological trigger Team B had been waiting for. They didn't press him, they actively encouraged him to push forward by dropping their own forwards deeper. This is known as baiting the press. Team B was creating a localized vacuum in the middle of the pitch. Let's break down the mechanics of this trap. As Team A's defensive midfielder abandoned his post to join the attacking line, the vital rest-defense triangle was broken. Team A essentially morphed into a bizarre 2-1-7 formation. They had 7 players crammed in the final third, desperately trying to pick a lock, while leaving 2 isolated center-backs stranded near the halfway line. You might ask, why didn't Team A's manager scream at his players to hold their shape? Because the illusion was too convincing. When a team is dominating the ball, it triggers a dopamine hit. It feels like dominance. The manager was blinded by the possession stats. He failed to see the structural rot happening right in front of his eyes. At halftime, the score was 0-0. The television commentators criticized Team B for being overly negative, but inside Team B's dressing room, the manager knew the trap was set. The prey was inside the cage. It was just a matter of locking the door.
Football matches are often decided by single, microscopic moments of panic. Fast forward to the 65th minute. The score remains goalless. The pressure of the World Cup stage is beginning to crush Team A. The fans are whistling. The media expectations are weighing heavily on the manager's shoulders. He feels he has to do something. He has to win this game. And then he commits the cardinal sin of tactical management. He sacrifices structure for firepower. In a desperate bid to force a goal, Team A's manager makes a substitution. He takes off his only natural defensive midfielder, the player who, despite pushing too high, was the last remaining thread holding their defensive transition together. In his place, he brings on an attacking midfielder, a pure number 10. He transitions his team into a hyper-aggressive 4-2-4. From the outside, it looks brave. It looks like a manager going for the kill. But inside the mind of Team B's manager, it was a moment of absolute triumph. By removing the defensive pivot, Team A had voluntarily dismantled their own shield. Let's analyze the pitch state the moment after this substitution. Team A now has 4 pure attackers standing on the edge of the opponent's penalty area. Their fullbacks are pushed all the way up as wingers. The central midfield consists of 2 creative players who have 0 defensive instincts. They had taken the bait entirely. They had overcommitted. The spiderweb was now full, and it was time for the spider to strike. The 68th minute. Team A is circulating the ball again. They try to force a complex threaded pass through the center. It's intercepted. But this time, Team B does not just clear the ball out of bounds to relieve pressure. This is the moment they have been drilling for months. 0-1 seconds. The interception happens just outside Team B's penalty area. 0-3 seconds. Instead of looking up to see where his teammates are, the defending center-back plays a blind one-touch pass out to the left flank. He doesn't need to look because he knows exactly where the trapdoor is. 0-5 seconds. Team B's left winger, who had spent the last hour defending deep, suddenly explodes into a full sprint. Team A's right back is caught completely out of position, stranded deep in the attacking half. There's 80 yards of open, beautifully green grass in front of the winger.
0.8 seconds. Team A's two isolated center backs are thrust into an impossible situation. They have to backpedal furiously, but they are suddenly facing a 3-on-2 overload. Team B's central striker, who had been quiet all game, makes a vicious diagonal run, dragging one center back away and splitting the defense wide open. 0.11 seconds. The winger carries the ball past the halfway line. The central midfield of Team A is nowhere to be seen. The attacking substitutions they just made are lightly jogging back, completely irrelevant to the unfolding disaster. 0.13 seconds. A perfectly weighted, low-driven cross bypasses the scrambling, desperate slide of the last defender. 0.15 seconds. The ball is hammered into the roof of the net. Silence falls over the stadium. The camera cuts to Team A's manager. He is standing frozen, hands in his pockets, staring blankly at the pitch. He looks like a man who has just realized he left the stove on while his house is burning down. In exactly 15 seconds, a 68-minute illusion of dominance was shattered. Team B hadn't just scored a goal, they had executed a tactical assassination. Once a team that relies on control loses it, panic is inevitable. The remaining 20 minutes of the match were a masterclass in psychological disintegration. Team A threw everything forward, completely abandoning any semblance of a tactical plan. It devolved into Sunday League football. Long balls, desperate shots from 30 yards, and angry fouls. Team B, on the other hand, simply retreated back into their web. They absorbed the chaotic energy, maintaining their rigid lines. They knew the war was already won. When the final whistle blew, the statistics showed Team A had 75% possession and 18 shots on target. Team B had 25% possession and exactly 2 shots on target. Yet Team B walked away with a historic victory. This match will be remembered not just as a World Cup shock, but as a definitive lesson in modern football strategy. It proved that possession without penetration is just an exercise in vanity. It highlighted the supreme importance of rest defense in an era where everyone wants to attack. But most importantly, it showed that football is as much a psychological battle as it is a physical one. Team B did not win because they were faster, stronger, or more talented. They won because they understood the ego of their opponent. They knew that by offering Team A the illusion of absolute power, Team A would eventually destroy themselves. As we move deeper into the 2026 World Cup, this match serves as a terrifying warning to every elite nation. If you step onto the pitch and find the enemy has given you all the space in the world, be careful. You might just be walking into a trap.